Everyone, welcome to my stream. So I'm going to continue painting this buffalo, the one that I've been painting a couple of weeks ago. I've been able to stream the last couple of weeks, been a bit busy, but yeah, today I'm going to carry on with the streaming. See how it goes. So yeah, as always, put in the chat any thoughts you have about the painting or the stream, see how it's going. Yeah, talk about a bit of life as well if you want to. So yeah, let's get going. So last week I did a sort of brief start on it, very rough background, getting a bit of texture in there. There's quite a lot of like physical texture, paint's quite thick. So today I'm just going to fill in the rest of the colour, maybe do a bit of detailing around the horns, and don't think I'll get the whole buffalo finished today, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, let me know what you think as I go through. So as always, I need to get some paint on my palette. So there's going to be quite a lot of Payne's Grey in this painting. I'm just going to whack some Payne's Grey on. Buffalo itself has got quite a blue tint to it, so I'll add some blue onto the palette as well. So that's going to be the main colours today. Payne's Grey, white and blue. Payne's Grey is obviously tends to be the darkest colour I use. I don't often use black. Sometimes do for eyes and stuff. Okay, this is all clogged up. Looks like I forgot to put the lid on this. See if I can get it out without it spurting everywhere. Okay. Lesson to myself. Always put the lid on your white paint. See if I can pull out the plug. There you go, that's the plug. Should come out nicely now. Oh, that splashed a bit everywhere. Oh, there's still a bit of muck on the end of there. So, as I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to got Payne's Grey, got got that, and I'm going to put a bit of cerulean blue. The whole body has a very bluey tint, so it does need quite a lot of blue. And it's quite light over here, a bit dark around the face, but still very bluey, a bit brown going along at the face, a bit of brown down here. But yeah, it's going to be quite a nice painting, this. I'll fill in all the leaves afterwards that are in front, and then possibly do a bit of detailing in the background at the end. Got very orangey ear. I'm going to start off with the darker colours, sort of Payne's grey. So I'm going to go pure Payne's grey, and I'm going to start around this ear to border the ear. I'm using a flat brush for this. Just give the buffalo a bit of a border there. Hey Izzy, thanks for joining on Insta. So what I tend to do when I paint is I tend to sort of start dark and move towards the light. I find it easier with acrylics, which is what I paint in generally. It's easier to go dark and then move to the light, whereas other mediums such as, I guess watercolour is the main one, is you tend to go light and go darker because you can't paint over dark colours with watercolour. This canvas is 900 millimeters by 600 millimeters, so 90 by 60, basically 3 by 2 foot. So I'm just roughly going over the shaded areas. I'm obviously going to paint over them again. I'm just roughly going over this ear, just to make sure it's sort of behaving itself. Got the colours going on. Checking everything's working. Looks like it to me. Awesome. So that's sort of the definition of the outline of the ear. Nice big shadow up here as well, so I'm just going to paint that in there. It comes up a bit up here as well. And the horn itself has quite a bit of a shadow, so just paint that in there. It's quite warm in here today. I've got the fan on. If you can hear the fan, let me know and I'll turn it off. Let's move on to the other horn in the ear. It's very dark under here as well. I'm just putting the block colour down, and then I'll sort of blend it in later on, do a bit of a sure that it's sort of working nicely with the painting. So one of the interesting things about the buffalo is it's got quite a lot of these creases, wrinkles in the skin. I guess trying to portray that is going to be slightly time consuming, I guess. I'm just going to portray it now, and then I'm going to paint over it, so the darker the Payne's grey will sort of start showing through once you paint it over, so I won't paint it over completely opaque. The reference image comes down like this, and that's actually a crease, so got that wrong here, so let me just draw this round like that. So this is the body of the cow. Obviously this I need to go through and create the very bluey lightish tint along here, but I'm just going to paint it quite dark. Certainly the bits that are already quite dark. I'm just going to paint it so I'll have the sort of definition before I want to paint over it. Just realised I haven't got any water out. into the vegetation afterwards, I think. So that's under the chin there. It's going to get a lot, I'm going to paint over it quite a lot to make it a lot sort of lighter. But I do start, like, I do prefer to work with shadows and then work to highlights, not the other way around. Looks like this ear's been a bit eaten, or I don't know, had a problem at some point in its life. It's sort of like, or maybe it's not, maybe it's just the fur at the bottom. There's a nice black border, and then it gets a lot colourfuller, a lot more colourful inside. Quite interested to see how this one's going to turn out, to be honest, because it's quite an interesting subject, but it's somewhat far away from what I tend to normally do. It will be quite interesting, to be honest. I'll just fill in the eyes now with the Payne's grey. Then I'll start going lighter, get some blue in it. So I think that's all the really dark bits done. Maybe if this bit down here is a bit darker. So, I'm going to mix some white with the Payne's grey. I'm going to mix the blue as well to make it very bluey. More Payne's grey in there. So I've got quite a bluey grey there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start sort of painting in the areas where it's clearly a bit more of the bluey grey. I think this one's going to be less realistic and a little bit more, I don't know, abstracty type colour. I don't know, we'll see how it progresses. If I want it to be realistic, I'll make it realistic. If it's it's going to look better, not realistic, then I'll go with the sort of rough finish type thing. It's also how much I can be bothered doing, to be honest. But my goal today is to get the whole canvas sort of painted, and then the third stream I'll probably do much more detailing. I'll probably end up doing some detailing today, maybe the horns I'll finish off and do them. But I'm using quite a large brush, as you can see, just to slap the colour on. And I'm already starting to fade in that colour there. So I'll put the lighter colour on the blue in a sec. Just get a bit of white, just make sure it's a bit whiter than grey. I'm going to start blending it in if I can. Maybe use my finger or a wet finger. Get a bit of moisture on the paint so it blends in a bit nicer. Get some streaks going as well, just with the bigger brush. So you can see I'm already getting the texture in there for the It's a lot brighter down here. So I'll bring up the white a bit more. Get it to blend in. Use my finger to smudge it in. I do a lot of finger painting when I paint, if you haven't seen my streams before. I actually think fingers are a better tool than a brush most of the time. Get some really nice blending going on. So that's that side of the sort of buffalo done. So if you're interested, I took this photo in Lake Nakuru, probably in 2012. Lake Nakuru is a national park in Kenya. And this buffalo was just sat there watching me eating grass. It's almost as if it had forgotten it was eating grass and just wanted to know whether it needs to run or hide or something. So I just took a photo, and it seemed very compliant. Buffaloes can be really aggressive, especially wild ones. Though I guess in a national park it's probably less likely because they see people or vehicles every day. Bit of a highlight going on down here, so I'll just blend that in there. It's quite highlighted up here as well, so I'll just blend that in. So I think that's quite good for that bit there. I'll do the other side now, which is more of the same really. Start off with the sort of darker bluey colour. Get some more Payne's grey on that to make it a bit darker. A bit more blue. So I always paint back to front, as in I paint the background first and then move to the foreground. It's just easier. It's more logical in the way you have to build up the layers. So that's why I'm painting the body now. I'm going to have to repaint these leaves that are in front of the buffalo. So I'll see if this sort of bluey tint works on the main thing once I've actually finished painting it. I might just have to change the colour back to something a little bit more, I don't know, silver. Add a bit more grey. I think this side is working quite nicely, even though there's quite a lot of blue in there. Just going to blend it in a bit there. So there's this clear distinction of a line between the chin and the beard. The chin is less blue, so less sort of bluey grey, so I'm not going to throw blue on there. So Payne's grey is actually more of a blue, very dark blue. So most of my paintings you'll find there's a sort of a dark bluey tint. Should we do that here? Which is fine, I'll do it in a bit. I'm not sure I'm that keen on this music. So we need to go a bit lighter again. I'm just going to grab that bluey colour, just mix some white into it. So I'm just reusing the paint. Now this area here is very white, very light, so I'm just going to paint that. Again, I'll really need to redo the horn. I'm going to try and do the same effect that I did on this side over here. That's getting a much lighter bluey grey. I'm going to start off around here, sort of bringing that colour down and blending it in with my finger. When I end up doing all the highlights, you'll find that I'll then get a bit of pure white on there in certain places just to highlight it and then blend it in with my finger again. I find that works really well for fur and stuff. Might even use the paint pens, get the paint pens out. Getting a fairly wet brush now, as in terms of water. Damp. Haven't quite got the same effect as I had got over here. So I was getting a bit of an echo in my ear. I don't know if you were hearing that. I don't think you were. Let's stop now. I'll try this side to this side. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's got the darker shadows there. Maybe I've gone a bit too light. I'll fix it once I've worked out what's gone wrong. But there's definitely a really nice highlight up here. I'm just going to bring back paints gently so there's some sort of streaks there. Yeah, I think that's because this bit's just subtly darker. Let me see if I can bring the darkness levels back on this side. Add a bit more definition and tone. Again, I know the reference image doesn't have that, but you paint what you want to see, not what. It's because I've got no Payne's Grey on this side. As I was saying, you paint what you need, what your eye wants to see, not what the reference image says. If you copy the reference image exactly, then what's the point in painting it? Just take a photo. Just keep the photo. Hid the photo. So I've got a bit of definition there now. Just where it was getting a bit darker. Now I've just added a bit more definition just here. Down here. There's obviously a lot more detail that needs to go into this because it's quite, well, it's an animal, it's fur. So I need to go in with a much finer paint, and I'll do that right at the end to sort of bring out the definition and bring out the nose. Define the fur a little bit more. Right here actually comes down like that a bit more. Anyway. I guess that looks okay. Just get my lightness out a bit again. Just do this bit and blend it in a bit. So I'm just going to, I guess, start on the face. So this bit is much browner, so I'm not going to do that bit right now. So there's a sort of like, a bit more like that actually. A bit more like that, where I'm going to paint, and then it comes up like that. I do this just to visualize where I want to paint next. And obviously it comes around the nose like this, and then down into a much browner here. So I'm basically defined by these points, so yeah, I'll paint this bit even though it's going to be browner. I'll paint this bit. And then I'll start off with the Payne's Grey, sort of a darker Payne's Grey here. Not too dark though. It's going to sort of look like this. So we've got a wrinkle that does that. Quite important, that one. We've got a little one down there. And then from about here downwards, I'm going to start painting the darker colour. This bit, the background is darker, but it needs to become lighter again. And I'll bring the lightness back in once I've sort of blocked out the dark colour. It's getting a bit dry, I should probably add a bit of water now. I don't like adding water because it makes the paint less opaque, and the way I paint is very opaque. The way I prefer to paint. That was actually... that wrinkle actually comes down like that. Doesn't really matter at the moment. Quite a few are intently watching, so thank you for that. I've got a few streams running. So I've got Instagram, I've got 2 on YouTube, one's on a vertical orientation, one's on a horizontal orientation. So yeah, there's some people that have watched a significant amount of this stream. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button please, it's going to help me. Quite like to get to 100 subscriptions fairly soon. 196 I think. Not that it means anything, I don't really care. Don't think I'm ever going to make a total career out of YouTube, but I do want to make a career out of painting. Actually, the more exposure I get on YouTube will probably be better long term for my painting career. I've just looked at the screen. Doesn't look like much now, does it, this buffalo? It will get there, don't worry. So I'll get the sort of the whole painting blocked in, and then we'll go from there. Right, so there's quite a lot of brown on this painting, so I'm going to introduce some burnt sienna now to my palette. Just whack it on somewhere, it doesn't really matter where. It's probably too much. I waste a lot of paint when I paint. Mix that in with Payne's Grey. Maybe a bit of white. Roughly mixing a colour which I think will work quite nicely. I'm just going to sort of bring that down here. Probably do some bit of colour inference as well. So down here I guess we'll need a bit of that same colour, just to make sure you think it's the same sort of animal. Colour inference is one of the key things I find when I'm painting, to bring the painting together. Make sure that regardless of whether the reference image has that colour, just make sure the colour is inferred onto different areas of the painting. If I had more time, I'll do more streams. I would sort of change them up a bit. Do some maybe more quick art rather than this sort of long painting process. Do like tutorial type things. There's a bit of colour inference there. I'll do some over here. No, we don't have any colour inference over here. That particular colour there that I just put in, but I might as well do it. It's also a similar colour to the horns, so that's so I'm inferring colour from the horns as well. And now let's do a bit of blending, making sure that got certain dark patches in, so I'll just bring my brush down like this, and I'll go onto the light areas as well. Remember, this isn't detail, this is just first pass. Just make sure there's a bit of texture in there to work with. Thank you for those who've just joined the stream, really appreciate that. As you can see, I've just sort of started this painting. I've got a bit of a long way to go. I'm just putting the block colour at the moment. By the end of the stream, everything will be painted. So there'll be colour everywhere. Then I'll do some detailing on another stream, on another day. It'll be quite nice in the stream. I don't know if I'll get there, but I'll be able to finish one particular aspect. So I'm thinking once I get all the colour down, maybe I'll stay on and do a lot of detailing around the horns. I'm just adding texture to the base colour at the moment. Just gonna lighten this up a little bit now. A few light streaks, there's a few down here. Just use my finger to blend it in a little bit. It needs to be a bit lighter over there, but I'll do that later. Right, I'll move on to the sort of cheeks. And this sort of inner bit of the ear here. A lot darker actually up here, so just blend that in a bit with the painting I just did. Thanks for those who are watching on Instagram as well. So there's a few of you. Thanks for the comments as well. Hope you're all well as well. Some brown up here. Add a bit of highlight inside the ear. Grab the Payne's Grey again and bring it back down. A bit of highlighting down here as well. Ooh. So the Payne's Grey is Winsor and Newton. The other paints I'm using are Zila. It's working. Sorry, I just need to be right back. I'm getting a phone call. So sorry about that. I had a bit of a technical issue and had a phone call at the same time. So I'm back. Hi everyone. It's a nice highlight that goes down the middle of that ear. It's probably not as bright as that, but I'll just blend it in a little bit. So I think that ear works quite nicely now. I'll move on to the other ear. The other ear is actually a lot darker than that one, so let me grab some Payne's Grey, whack it over next to the burnt sienna. We can start painting over there. That's a lot brighter there, so let's just start down here where it's obviously a lot darker. How is everyone today? Instagram is very flaky. It's just crashed out and there's no way of me restarting the Instagram stream. Because it'll kill my YouTube streams. Maybe I should, I don't know, use a different bit of software to stream to. I mean, I'm streaming. No, I don't think that'll work. Quite a lot of blue on the inside of this ear. Colour inference though. So I need to go around with a darker bit again, I think. So actually I might do that now. I think it works quite nicely for that ear. Blend in the colour a little bit to the outside. There's definitely a touch of highlighting going on around here. And then that in with the background. And up here again. Maybe down here. Blend it in. It's just the face to do now, really. Then I can get onto the detailing. So the face kind of has a ridge line. Oops, did not want to do that. So I'll fix that later. There we go, back online. Sorry about that. That out focus. Back in focus, that's cool. So sorry about that, I'm back. Hey, everyone who's just joined. So hopefully those technical issues are finished now. My stream is back online. It's more Payne's grey, to be honest. So does this down here. So this needs a lot more detail later on, but I'm just going to sort of block it in with this sort of browny colour right now. So I think what I'll do in the stream, I'll finish off doing the horns, so detail them up as much as I can, and then possibly finish off with the eyes as well. Oh. Got a very messy palette going on here. It's like a star shape from here, I guess, with the hair. So obviously it needs a lot more detail going on here, but I'm just getting the colour down for now. Let me know what you think. Remember to subscribe if you're not. Some more Payne's grey on the palette. Way too much. This bit's quite Payne's grey heavy. It's not that much though. Just mix it in with what I've got down here. Trying to get a bit of texture on the nose bit. So let me know what you think. I know it's a bit weird at the moment with the block colours, but as I start doing the detail, I think it'll sort of come to life a little bit more, to be honest. So that's all green. Right, so I'll start doing the nose. So I've got that bit there, which is darker. It's got a bit of brown bits. I've got some pure Payne's grey where the nostrils are, pure darkness. I might even use black for the nostrils, but we'll see what they look like in Payne's grey for now. So the nose actually has an awful lot of white in it. It's also got an awful lot of blue on it. So I'm going to grab some blue, mix it with some white, a dab of Payne's grey, and actually I'm going to go start painting it like this. I'm going to see what that looks like and reflect backwards. I think the nose is going to make or break this painting, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be easy to do. It's going to have to look shiny. I usually say the eyes are the most important part of the painting, and I still think it is, actually. I still think the eyes really are the most important part of this painting. But in this case, the nose is really the focal point. Eyes bring out personality, but the nose is like the thing in the foreground. Blending some of the colour in here. So that's the nose, got the base colours on. I need to go around and sort it out, to be honest, but as long as I've got the base colours on and they're roughly in the right place, I can then go from there. Really start detailing out the whole painting. Get a bit more white on the palette. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start highlighting sections of the nose. Gently. I'm going to do a sort of stabbing motion for this highlights. It will show the texture rather than the just a black blanket block colour. how that looks when I step back. Ignore that bit, that's obviously needs to be green. I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think? Does that look alright? I'm looking at what my camera looks like. I think it looks alright. So it's very flat around here. I need to do a lot of detailing on the nose, real detailing. But the detailing I'm going to start on is around the horns, all the way around here, and then I'll move downwards on the whole buffalo. I'm going to paint this green in a sec, and then I'll then create the definition. It is going to look. I think I was going to leave it as quite abstract, but I think it might warrant a little bit more realism, this painting. So I'll see how the horns go, and then I'll decide how abstract or how it's going to go in general. So I'll do the green quickly, and then I'm going to go for a break. I'm going to wash my palette. I'm going to go and have a drink. 10-minute break, and then I will continue. So I need the greenery, and the greenery is going to consist of Hooker's green. Pale olive. Just dropped one of my paints into the... I think there's a bit of yellow in there as well, so I'll get some of the... I'm such a messy painter. It's because I don't put anything back. I'm just useless when it comes to clearing things up. And I said yellow, didn't I? So I'm going to add a touch of this sun lemon yellow. There's probably a bit of yellow ochre in there. Well, there might not be actually. Let's see what happens with this colour combination. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I just bring that in there. Again, this is where I've got the artistic. I can do whatever I like with this. Make it look as realistic, if not better than the real thing. In terms of the shapes, I'll come and do detailing later, but I'm just going to mix up the colour a bit on here. So I'll sort all that out later. Just now I'm more interested in just getting the general colours, and then I can add the leaves on later. So it's fine, let's add a bit more colour variation and texture into this. I don't know whether to put yellow ochre on because I don't think these need to have. Certainly got a bit of yellow on, so let's just whack a bit of yellow on there. guess that kind of looks like it's eating leaves at the moment. I'll do the detailing later and all the make sure I've got the right colours on the stuff. Add a bit of highlights onto the leaves. So I've done all of this with quite a big brush. So this is a I don't know what it is. I don't know, maybe about 1.5 centimeters wide, this brush, so 1/2 inch. So it's quite a big brush to be doing all this painting with, but then I'll go into the fine detail in a second with a much smaller brush. Probably just about to spoil the whole painting now. Great thing with painting, if you do spoil it, you can always go back and redo it. There's other mediums you can't do that with. Basically going to create a stalk that runs all the way down to the bottom. And here there's going to be a stalk that does that. And another one that does that. So I'm going off piste a bit. And what I can do, I guess I could just add in a random leaf or two. I don't have to copy the picture exactly. I think that works quite nicely. I think you can see enough definition there that it's eating some of the foliage. Some of the darker colour on there now. Some pure hooker's green. No, that didn't work. So I'll go and clean this palette and come back in about 10 or 15 minutes, 10 minutes I think, and then start doing the detailing. So yeah, let me know what you think. When I started, only the background had been done in the horns. There had been no cows, none of the body, and now I'm got the body done. So right, I'm going to go away. I'm going to do some cleaning, go and have a drink. Then I'll be back and start detailing the horns. So I think I'll do 15 minutes. So I'll see you in 15. Hello everyone, I'm back. I have... So I've done the sort of main body painting bit. I think it works quite well, to be honest. What I'm going to do for the second part of the stream, it won't be that long, I'm going to detail the horns. I think I'll leave it there. I might detail the eyes, but there's not. So I've washed my palettes. Do a bit of tidying up here. Chat's very quiet today for some reason. Where I find out that I've forgotten to turn the chat on or something. So let me just go fill up with some water. Water stop complete. Very hot in it. It heats a bit sometimes. There we go. Back on and alive and out of focus. There we go, got the focus on. So, as I say, I'm going to work on this horn. So up there, I've already got a bit of stuff going on. Let me just get a couple of brushes out. So I've got a very small brush. Well, it's not that small. It's oh, that is quite small actually. 50. I'll get a 2. Too big, that one. That one, that's a 0. Get a 2, 0, and I'm looking for a 3. So 0, 3. Appear to be able to see it at the moment. Don't know where that's gone. Oh well. Choose those 3. I'll use a 5 instead. Make 0. Right, ready to go. So I'm going to start off with the grey on this brush here. The reason I'm starting off with the grey, because up here, okay, that's not doing anything because it's basically the same colour as I painted onto, which is fine. Let's get a bit of yellow ochre out. Start adding the yellow ochre to the edges up there. As always, detailing takes a while. Probably can't even see what I'm doing. It's when it all comes together at the end, you're like, oh, that's what that's been working. Probably get some burnt umber on there as well, actually, as well as burnt sienna. Use that for the dark bits. So this is the methodical way I'm going to do the detailing. I'm just going to put streaks of different colours all over the horn. In fairly strategic locations, to be fair, but... And then build up the colour where I think it's necessary. So at the end here, it needs to be a lot darker, so I need to start putting bits like burnt umber, but it's also quite bluey. So I'll start adding, a bit like what I did down here, start adding blue. And it will add a lot of definition to this horn. So I'll create the really sort of nice texture of the horn. The horn is... No, it's not. I was about to say the horn is actually in front of the ear, but it's not. So that's fine. I can do whatever I want around here, and then I can detail up the ear later. So I'm going back to Kenya in a couple of weeks. Less than 2 weeks actually. I need to get this painting done. So I'll do another stream probably during the week. Hopefully that'll be the end of this painting. I'll seal it and then decide what to do with it. This isn't a commission or anything, so this is just me experimenting with sort of different kind of painting. I've never sort of done a cow before. Buffalo. I thought it was a very interesting photo. Thought it'd make quite a nice painting, to be honest. That's why I did it. So already you can see the definition in that horn. It started to pop out of the picture, the canvas, a lot better than it did. So yeah, I think it's doing really well, to be honest, this painting. That's really good. Now I've done the burnt umber. I'm going to add a bit of grey now. Not the burnt umber, the yellow ochre. I'm going to add a bit of grey where the highlight says. So instead of using white initially, I'm just going to do grey. We'll start blending in the colours a little bit. There's actually a really nice highlight that runs down here, which I'll obviously get the white on in a bit. But have you got any opinion on using white? I watched a TikTok the other day. Oh, well, it wasn't TikTok, I think it was a YouTube short, which said, basically, say breaking all the rules and using white, and all they did was a white pinpoint in the eye. I use white all the time. I don't see why that's a rule. I kind of see why you should never use black. Certainly not white. White's just very well exposed in photography sense, so I don't see why you wouldn't use it. Okay. Seems a bit odd. I've never heard that before. Maybe if I went to a classical art school, they would say that. I'm going to need to put some Payne's grey on this as well, I think. So I'm adding the definition in the horn. I believe the horns, I might be wrong with this, but I believe the horns are actually made of fur. Really, really concentrated. Well, that might be rhino horn, I don't know. Might not be buffaloes, actually, come to think of it. Anyway, I'm just getting a bit of definition in this horn here, just making it pop a bit with a bit of texture. Still looking a little bit flat, I think. Once I add the highlight and the shadows in, I think it'll look a lot better. Just going to paint over the shadow a bit. As in, it's not looking flat. There's not a sort of a gradient going from one to the other to make it look a bit more cylindrical or spherical. I think that's okay with the grey for now. Now I'm going to sort of do a hint of blue. I'm doing blue now so I can paint over it. As I say, I really want a hint of blue, not a... And actually, this entire highlight up here has got a lot of blue in it. do that, get my finger out and start spreading it nicely over the top. And I guess the blue is being inferred from maybe the sky. And again, up here, I guess, is a good place to put the blue, even though it's probably not in the painting. I'm not really paying attention to the painting at this point, by the way. Sorry, the photo. Sort of going with it and seeing what's happening. So that works quite well there. Add a bit more blue up here actually. So I can really get some definition difference between the end of the horn and the beginning of the horn. So to the real sort of edge, I guess. So I think that works quite well. I'm now going to move on to the burnt sienna. I guess this is probably more down here. I'm fully aware the horn is a lot lighter than what I'm painting it. And I will get the white on there as more of a wash, I think. The highlights. Burnt sienna is quite a nice colour. It's quite, I don't know how to describe it, fruity, I guess. Blends in quite well with the background. So a buffalo is considered one of the big five in Kenya, as in the big five animals. So you've got lion, elephant, leopards, buffalo, rhino, I believe are the big five. Now, I've always found it a bit weird that the buffalo are big five because they're very common and they're everywhere. It's not like, they are spectacular animals, but it's not like you're not going to see them. You're always going to see a buffalo. So I don't know why they decided it was a big five. Maybe it's based on size, but then you've got things like hippopotamuses. Surely they're bigger than the other animals. As you can see, I'm getting some definition here in the different colours that I'm painting. Get a bit of burnt sienna up here. And I'll come along with the highlights and the shadows in a second. So it's still looking very flat, I think. But the highlight and the shadows are going to completely change that perspective. As well. I think that works really nicely, to be honest. I did say I was going to find the burnt umber. I'll put a dollop of that on. It's just darker than burnt sienna. This burnt umber, I believe, is quite light compared to perhaps what I would be used to. Not that massive difference between this and burnt sienna. I'm then going to go on with the Payne's Grey. I'll get a bit of Payne's Grey on the palette. Before I get the Payne's Grey out, I'm actually going to add a bit more yellow ochre. That's going to go along here. Just lighten, make this a bit more yellowy colour. Mimic the actual picture a little bit more, I guess. Yeah, I think that works quite well. Right, let's get the burnt umber out. Not the burnt umber, the Payne's Grey. I'm going to use it quite sparingly. I'm going to use the size 1, or is it 2? 0 brush, sorry. Use the size 0. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go over the areas where I think it could do with a bit of darkening. There's one. Nice little bit around here, I guess. Then certainly around here, so up the top, in there, around there. And it sort of comes to a bit of a point there in terms of what it looks like. Bring colour down. There's not a huge amount of darkness in this pawn. There's quite a lot in the other one. Just casually putting it on. I'm going to wet the brush a little bit. Just trying to form a little bit of a sort of a cylindrical shape to this whole look of this. So I don't think that needs much more Payne's grey. I will go ahead with a rough brush like this one, which is very stiff and has a lot of straggly bits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get the end, try and get a bit of texture, scratching it onto the paper, canvas, scratching it. I don't know if you can hear on the camera. What that I think is adding is a little bit of texture. I'm going to do it everywhere, so it just adds a little bit of that texture on there. So I'm just dabbing it so it looks a bit like that. Okay, so that's great. So I've done that now, and then I'm going to go a bit more full on with the white. I'm going to get a relatively large brush again. Not as big as how I did in the first one, but this one will do. This is a number 2, bit of flat head. And I'm going to water down it a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to really hit the highlights. I'm going to start off with the sort of centre of it. And this is a little bit of a wash, I guess. I'm going to blend it in either side. Using my finger, I think. One of the nice things about highlights is you can do what you want with them. It's never really going to look wrong. Okay, well, some might look terrible if they're definitely supposed to be in the shade, but I've made a little break, so you can see there's a spiral going on here of the dark, because that's what I've just made that little break of. There's another little ridge line here, which I'm going to highlight. It's because it's right next to the Payne's grey. I think that's looking really quite nice now. Get the little brush so I can scratch the Payne's grey onto the canvas so we get that texture. Go back over the highlight with this scratch, just to try and again get that texture a little bit through. I think that's worked really well. Now this area is very highlighted, I would say. There's probably a nice big highlight at the top, which there is actually. I just didn't really notice that. I'm just adding a few highlights on there, see if I can get there more. I'll add a sort of rough one down here. It's a bit too much. Let's just rub it in. So yeah, I think that's alright, to be honest. Right, so I've learnt the formula. I'm now going to follow the process exactly the same again. I'll just clean my brushes. I'm going to start off with the yellow ochre, just like I did the other side. Now this horn is a lot darker. I'll be doing a lot more Payne's grey, I think. Just get the yellow ochre on like I did last time, like I did with the other horn. I need a tad bit of water there. So I think that's the yellow ochre done. And it needs a bit more detail down here. I think that's a separate little project actually. We'll do the top and then we'll do the bottom of the horn. Unlike here where they're sort of there. Add yellow ochre here though. Right, I'm now going to the grey. Back it's hurting a bit today. Now again, with this one, there's a lot of blue. So once I've finished with the grey, I'm then moving on to the blue. It's a lot more blue than the left-hand horn and the right hand. The other horn, basically, is what I'm saying. That's that. I'm going to now do the blue, which is really quite prevalent in the whole of this up here especially. Doing a little bit of a wash, to be honest, just getting the blue tint going throughout. I'm going to need a slightly bigger brush than this, but I'm using. I guess the blue does two jobs here. One, I get it. Your eye's naturally drawn upwards with blue because you associate it with the sky. Secondly, because the whole body has got quite a lot of blue in it, although you can't necessarily tell, it's inferring that colour, so it brings all the painting together. Around here it's got a bit of blue as well. Background might have blue in it as well, I don't know. Doesn't in my painting. I might have to put a bit of blue in the background just to sort of infer it again so the painting is all works together nicely. So that's the blue done. I think that's looking quite good. Just need some more up here. I'm gonna have to go on to the burnt umber in a sec. I don't like the quality of the burnt umber. I don't know if I said this earlier, I probably did. It seems very, very light for burnt umber. And realistically, I can't tell much difference between that and burnt sienna, and they're supposed to be, in other colour sets that I've ever had, they're supposed to be significantly different. I assume that's what they're supposed to be. So when they're not, it's actually quite difficult to use it because you expect it to be a really, really, really dark brown. Oops, did not want to do that. Well, I'll just rub it in. Now I'm doing the Payne's grey. Get the Payne's grey in here. It's looking all right. And you see the scratchy thing that I did earlier. I'll just grab a bit of Payne's grey on the brush. Might be a bit too much. Just going to scratch it over the top to create that texture, the sort of hair texture. I'm going to do this before I do the highlights. Just adding texture here, and then I just need to do the highlights. So I think that horn is pretty much done now. And then I just need to do the highlights. So I'll get my bigger brush out for that, get some water on the palette like I did last time. Just start off with the highlights. So there's a highlight over here. Just put the wash up there and then rub it in. That seems to work really nicely. So this horn is a lot darker over there, and I don't know why. Maybe it's in the shade. But the highlights actually look a little bit stronger in general. So I will be passing through and creating a really strong highlight on the inside here. Also, there's a nice big highlight down here, so I'll do that as well. And I'll lighten this up just like I did on the other side. And I think that'll be me done for the day. Cook some dinner, ready for bed. Nice big highlight right at the top of the thing here. So yeah, I think that's the horns go. That looks okay. Don't think I can complain about that. That's me done for today. I will see you guys. I don't know when, but just keep a lookout for me. It might be Wednesday, it might be Tuesday. Tuesday, What's the hazard a guess? It will be Tuesday. Definitely not tomorrow. So yeah, obviously, well, not necessarily obviously, but I'm going to work my way down now. Do the whole face. I don't know if I need to do anything with the body. I probably need to do a little bit with the ears here and there. Certainly this one. This one looks quite good. And then I'll need to start doing the background and doing a little bit more detail on the background. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty cool. Let me know what you think. Give me a comment. Tell everyone about this stream if you think it was good. So, brilliant. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good evening.